So his relationship was really not back at all. It took 3 days and 3 nights, and it took some consequences for him to decide, well, maybe I'll talk to this God again. I'll talk to Yahweh. I'll talk to him. Out of my distress, I cried to Yahweh, and he answered me. From the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. You cast me into the abyss, into the heart of the sea, and the flood surrounded me. And all your waves, your billows washed over me. And I said, I am cast out from your sight. How shall I ever look again on your holy temple? The water surrounded me right to my throat. The abyss was all around me. The seaweed was wrapped around my head. At the roots of the mountains, I went down into the countries underneath the earth, to the peoples of the past. And you lifted my life from the pit. Yahweh, my God, while my soul was fainting within me, I remembered Yahweh, and my prayer came before you into your holy temple. Those who serve worthless idols forfeit the grace that was theirs, but I, with a song of praise, will sacrifice to you. The vow I have made I will fulfill. Salvation comes from Yahweh. Now we spoke to the fish, which then vomited Jonah onto the shore. The word of Yahweh was addressed a second time to Jonah. Up! The assignment had not changed. Jonah thought, boy, I'm back in right relationship with God, and, the sailors were saved, and this is okay now. I'm okay. I can probably go home. Do you think he was thinking about going to Nineveh when he got out of that fish?
No way.
Do you think that was his plan? I better do the assignment? No. God knew exactly what his plan was, and it was not to do the assignment. So God repeats it. He says, up. Go to Nineveh, the great city, and preach to them as I told you to. Jonah set out and went to Nineveh in obedience to the word of Yahweh. Now Nineveh is a great city beyond compare. It took 3 days to cross it. And Jonah went on into the city, making a day's journey. He preached in these words, only 40 days more and Nineveh is going to be destroyed.
Wow.
And the people of Nineveh believed in God. They proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least. The news reached the king of Nineveh, who rose from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat down in ashes. A proclamation was then promulgated throughout Nineveh by decree of the king and his ministers as follows. Men and beasts, herds and flocks are to taste nothing. They must not eat. They must not drink water. All are to put on sackcloth and call on God with all their might. And let everyone renounce his evil behavior and the wicked things he has done. Who knows if God will not change his mind and relent? If he will not renounce his burning wrath so that we do not perish. God saw their efforts to renounce their evil behavior, and God relented. He did not inflict on them the disaster which he had threatened. Jonah was very indignant at this and fell into a rage. He prayed to Yahweh and said, Yahweh, this is just what I said would happen when I was still at home. That was why I went and fled to Tarshish. Now he's making excuses why he went to Tarshish. He's backpedaling in all his confession. I knew that you were a God of tenderness and compassion, slow to anger, rich in graciousness, relenting from evil. Yahweh, please take my life, for I might as well be dead as to go on living. Have you ever felt that way? I think I have a lot. Not necessarily about that kind of thing, but, you know, sometimes we get awfully heavy with that life we got in our lives. Yahweh replied, are you right to be angry?
That's one of the greatest questions
Yeah.
I've ever heard.
Are you right to be angry? Jonah then went out of the city and sat down to the east of the city. There he made himself a shelter and sat under it in the shade to see what would happen to the city. Yahweh God arranged that a castor oil plant should grow up over Jonah to give shade for his head and soothe his ill humor. Jonah was delighted with the castor oil plant, but at dawn the next day God arranged that a worm should attack the castor oil plant, and it withered. See, I mean, it's just endless. If he decides to get on your case, you can expect a lot of things to happen that are difficult.
Why does God do such things like that to Jonah and to everybody else nowadays? I mean, why does he do stuff to people?
Well, let's see what's going to happen. Next, when the sun rose, God arranged that there would be a scorching east wind. The sun beat down so hard on Jonah's head that he was overcome and begged for death, saying, I might as well be dead as to go on living. God said to Jonah, are you right to be angry about the castor oil plant? He replied, I have every right to be angry, to the point of death. Well, he replied, you are only upset about a castor oil plant, which cost you no labor, which you did not make grow, which sprouted in a night and has perished in a night. And am I not to feel sorry for Nineveh, the great city, in which there are more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left? To say nothing of all the animals? Now this book is meant to disturb you. And it's meant to stay with you, and it's meant to, because, you know, Jesus said, it's easy to love those who love you. Anybody can do that, but you must love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Which is the hardest scripture in the New Testament. It's easy to love those who love you. Anybody can do that, but you must love your enemies. And Nineveh was the #1 enemy. And where do you see the problem lay? Was the problem with Nineveh? Or was the problem with Jonah?
What disturbs me is that Jonah wasn't even wrong about God. He had God pegged from the beginning, that he's
Too merciful.
merciful and so on. And you can still decide wrong.
So, Frank,
Yes.
it's like Jonah and the prodigal son's older brother.